This radio program is PG-13. Parents strongly caution some material may be inappropriate for children under the age of 13.
The following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, Phoenix. Welcome to Filthy Fridays. Brother Mike on HardcoreChristianity.com. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the radio program. Today's Bible study, Desire to Die. Today on Hardcore. Hey, you call somebody and tell them the radio program's on. I don't normally do that on Filthy Fridays, but this one is so interesting. Somebody needs to hear this because it's going to happen, folks. It's already starting to happen. Satan is implanting in our society the desire to die. This is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center in Phoenix. We're downtown on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road, and it's in the red brick building. HardcoreChristianity.com is the website. Check it out. It's got all of our ministry services there. We got 2 live services every week, 7 p.m. Pacific time and Arizona time on Thursdays and Fridays. Wednesday night we have a Zoom deliverance service with Brother Rick and the ministry team. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Tuesday night we have a women's only Zoom service with Sister Julie and the ministry team. That is on at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Send me an email, Mike at hardcorechristianity.com. I'll send you the ID code and the password. Please remember my teaching service on the 4th Saturday of the month at noon on deliverance and healing. Please remember to send us a donation through the PayPal on the website. Please remember my Sunday morning podcast. For 30 minutes every Sunday morning, you and Brother Mike can be together. Just go to twitch.tv, put in the code HCCADC, and you are there. If you need a religious exemption for the next big virus hoax, send me an email, Mike at hardcorechristianity.com. I'll send it to you. Plus, I'll send you the miracle list, a step-by-step guide to healing and deliverance that works 100% of the time. Desire to die. Satan has enormous powers that can't even be understood by the human mind. Let me give you some psychology today. I don't want to go too deep into it, but this is what Satan has and what he can do. Have you ever heard of these terms? Mass formation psychosis, mob psychology, mass hysteria. Have you ever heard of those terms? Well, I'm not going to go into them today because obviously I don't have time on a 15-minute radio program, but Satan has supernatural power through demons, most of them through familiar spirits, to take over literally dozens, hundreds, thousands, and hundreds of thousands of human beings' minds. He has the ability to take over their minds. Can you believe that? Those 3 psychological terms I just mentioned to you, mass formation psychosis, mob psychology, and mass hysteria, are examples of Satan and his supernatural power to take over the minds of people in groups. For example, the Salem witch trials. For example, the June bug epidemic of 1962. For example, the monkey men epidemic in India in 2001. For example, the dancing plague in 1518. For example, the Holocaust. For example, the Burning Man festival. For example, strange stock market runs. For example, Woodstock. I could go on and on and on, illustrating Satan's supernatural power to take over the mind. Revelation chapter 9, verse 6, quote, "In those days, men shall seek to die. They will not find it. And they will desire to die, and death will flee from them." Human beings, under the power of Satan or abuse or fear, will develop a desire to die. As you well know, that is As I'm talking to you right now, unfortunately, the suicide rate in the United States has skyrocketed. It's awful. But Satan's ability to take over groups is unprecedented and well known by everyone. For example, the Heaven's Gate cult, 39 people dead. Jim Jones cult in Guyana, over 900 people dead. Waco cult, 75 people dead. Charles Manson cult, 7 people dead. Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God cult in Uganda, hundreds dead. Order of the Solar Temple, 50 dead. Then there's sex cults. Satan has the ability to take over the minds of groups of people. Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. It goes on and on. The fundamental Latter-day Saints, a sex cult. The Children of God, now currently called Family International, a sex cult. Nixum, sex cult. The Osho movement in Oregon, Russian East movement, they called it, sex cult. The JMS satanic cult in Taiwan. The leader of that cult currently is being charged with multiple rapes. What happens? Satan takes over a group. Once you give Satan a stronghold, he begins to grow. He uses a charismatic leader. He causes that leader to rise to the top. He gives that leader supernatural powers, and bang. Human beings start falling in line one after the other, and they mentally can't resist it. When is that happening? Well, I just told you about the cult in Taiwan. That's still going. Here's another one. Nairobi, Kenya. This came out last week. The death toll to a doomsday cult in Kenya hit over 201. The police have exhumed currently 22 bodies, more bodies, bearing signs of starvation, strangulation, and blunt force trauma in their death. The bodies are the followers of a pastor based in coastal Kenya. His name is Paul McKenzie. He's alleged to have ordered congregants to starve themselves to death in order to meet Jesus. Over 600 people are missing, and they believe are dead in a vacant lot, an 800-acre property. They're digging bodies up, new ones, every single day. They followed this man, very charismatic guy, who convinced them. We already went over it, right? Mass formation psychosis, mob psychology, mass hysteria. I already went over it. He had thousands and thousands of followers. He supposedly closed the church in 2019 due to an apocalypse, and convinced people to kill themselves or allow themselves to be murdered as a sacrifice to seeing Jesus. In Uganda, the police finally caught this guy. They've broken the cult. His wife and 16 other suspects are executed. They think there may be over 600 people dead in this cult. What's amazing about it is this McKenzie guy, massively demon-possessed, had previously in the past been charged with the deaths of children in his church in a previous case that is still going to be litigated. That was an open file on this man when these other murders appeared. People started complaining to the police that their residents and their neighbors, many of them started disappearing. And many of them moved to a special area. Well, here's what these satanic cults do. They all do the same thing, as you well know. They have a charismatic leader who has a certain shtick. and they have supernatural powers. Okay? Another sex cult, perfect example of it, John of God in Brazil. John of God. Do you remember that one? Yeah, he's still alive. He's still alive. He's on house arrest at his home. This guy had almost 300 victims, just himself, not including anybody else in the cult. Just himself. This guy had so much supernatural demonic power that he was able to do healings on people that they went to the doctor and checked it out, and it was legitimate. In one case, he took a scissors, pushed it into the nose of a woman, twisted it 21 times, pulled it out. The woman then coughed up a ball of blood in a bowl, went to the doctor, and her brain tumor was gone. That's how much supernatural satanic power this guy had. John of God cult in, can you believe that? Brazil. It's in Brazil. What happened there? Well, I just mentioned it to you. What do we got going here? Mass formation psychosis, mob psychology, mass hysteria. This is a psychological illness that Satan has created and controls, where he takes over the minds of huge numbers of people. Huge numbers of people. And these people will do things and say things they would never have done or never have said under normal circumstances or prior to getting involved in the cult. Mind control spirits run through these ministries, these cult ministries, powerfully, and they are unstoppable. They get into the brains of the people. Everyone in the group has one. And they actually brainwash the person into behaving and thinking and speaking in a certain manner. It's literally supernatural. And these three psychological terms that I gave you, I didn't go into detail explaining the differences between the three, but there are subtle differences. But you've got to remember, this is the process the Antichrist is going to use. The false prophet will use miracles, and he will also use mind control spirits to take over the world.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.